Welcome to the Knowledge and Power podcast. Tonight, we're dealing with a sensitive subject. It's October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Let's go.
Sacrifice and really acknowledge and be mindful of the sacrifice he made.
Sorry.
What can you say?
Welcome.
Welcome.
How y'all doing?
Hello.
Hey, people.
How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing great.
That's good, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing, Michelle? It's
You almost said-
Michelle. I almost said her husband.
That's right.
This is his lovely wife, our sister, Michelle Hall. She is representing for our
Hello,
brother tonight.
family.
It is good to have you sitting in the spot tonight, Michelle. Are you ready?
Oh, I love chatting it up with my brothers.
All right. All right. We are glad to have you here. So tonight we're getting into a sensitive subject for some. But we're just gonna kind of ease into it. And I thought about trying to throw a bunch of stats up during the podcast, but I don't want to approach it that way tonight. I just kind of want to. We have guests in the house tonight, so I just kind of want to allow our guests to just feel free to just talk and educate us as best that they can as it relates to the subject of breast cancer. But before we do that, I will say this on a lighter note. We don't have a sponsor, but if we did have a sponsor,
Mhm.
our sponsor would not be Walmart.
It would not be.
It would not be Walmart.
And why is
What
this?
what Walmart do?
I'm gonna tell you what Walmart did. I love tea, so I went out and I bought me a tea kettle last night. And beautiful, my favorite color is maroon, and it was a nice maroon tea kettle with the the shiny handle. Well, long story short, the little button where you squeeze to flip the thing up to pour your tea into your cup.
Yeah.
It gets hot.
Oh, no.
I burned my hand, man. I burned my hand.
Oh, no.
Ridiculous.
And that's a Walmart brand.
That's a Walmart brand. So
Not good.
yeah, not good at all. So my thing was like, okay, do I just not drink tea? Do I still keep heating it the ghetto way with the pot? Or do I just use one of those oven mitts? I shouldn't have to use the oven mitt
You shouldn't have to.
because they should have enough sense to sell products in their store that it wears rubber or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
But brother,
know. Yeah, Michelle.
wouldn't that be kind of common sense?
To use oven mitt?
You
If
said,
something is hot on the stove,
Well, see,
don't you?
the ones in the past that I've used, they were a different. I don't know if it was just that hard.
yeah. They got
What am I trying to say?
The
they got the
silicone.
silicone
Yeah.
and they got the hard plastic.
Hard plastic, exactly. Well, this is not hard plastic. It's all shiny and chrome, and
Chrome
I picked that thing
that
up.
heats up.
Yes,
Oh, no. And it
yes,
burned your finger.
yes.
I'm so
Yes.
sorry. I'm so sorry, Rayford.
Walmart, you would not be
Right.
our sponsor tonight. But other than that, how did your week go so far? Michelle, we'll start with you. How was your week?
Well, last week was my husband's birthday,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I am used to big productions to show him that
look, it might not be his love language, but I love showing him off. So, but this year, empty nesters, no grandkids, no grand dogs, no one but he and I. And it was
How was
nice.
it? It was
It was nice.
okay. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I know y'all kind of said that y'all might be coming back this way for that weekend, so I was kind of looking forward to it. But I'm
Yeah,
glad you guys got a chance to experience that, just the two of you guys. And
I know we miss y'all so much.
yeah, but I'm making
right.
my way. I'm about to
We
make
do.
my way. I'm making my way.
Me too. We definitely miss you guys.
Well, whenever y'all ready, the second
Hmm.
bedroom is ready for you.
Yeah. Well, if everything goes to plan, I'll see y'all next month. So
Whoop,
well,
whoop.
I'll be doing the Knowledge and Power podcast from y'all crib.
Oh, from
So
the nice weather.
yeah, from the nice weather. Exactly. Exactly. Jake, what's going on in your world, man? How was your week?
Oh man, my week has been great. Uh, One thing I like about my mom's birthday is right around the same time, so we celebrated her.
Oh,
Oh
happy
wow.
birthday, Mama Peggy.
Yeah,
Wow,
so
that's cool.
yeah, had a good time with her, and then later on in the week, we took my sister to Milwaukee. She had a speaking engagement, which was
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
Oh, let's
Yeah,
get
Nice.
it. Minister Trish.
Tish doing
right,
it, man. She's doing it big
Tishley.
time.
right.
Doing it
But the
big time.
drive, man, that drive was something else.
Really?
Yeah, to
How
get
many
there,
hours was it?
it was a 5 hour drive,
I thought
and
y'all were closer to Milwaukee.
well, probably without all the traffic,
Oh,
but the traffic was
Mhm.
crazy going and coming back.
yeah.
Wow.
But we had a good time. Didn't get to see much of the city, but we did get some Wisconsin cheese.
Did you really?
Yeah, and
Is it really that much of a difference? Be honest with you, 'cause I love me some cheese.
it was good. I will say, we bought two flavors. It was like a dill garlic and uh, smoked bacon or something like that, and they were
Okay.
both very
Oh,
good.
that
Okay.
does sound good, but it didn't
Yeah.
help them beat them Spartans that last five.
No,
Oh wow.
It didn't help them whoop them that green and white.
no, no,
But y'all not from Wisconsin, so it don't matter. But
don't
you
matter to me.
Wisconsin fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sparty loves you still.
Right.
Yeah. We got a shout out from our brother. Happy birthday, Mama Harris. That's from Nathan Hall, who was sitting on
Yeah.
the sideline tonight. So
Aw.
yeah, y'all been some serious. Y'all been some partying it up, folks, the last 2 months. Jake with the birthday, with the
Right.
anniversary, Nate with
Can I say?
the birthday, your mama with the birthday. I mean, woo, y'all doing it big.
I know. This is the money
Well,
time of the year.
This is hey man. You better use that line. Hey, Christmas right around the corner.
Yeah, and then the holidays, all that. Because
Gotta be
that's
right.
how we are with our family. With September, October, November, all
Yeah,
birthdays. Then Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that.
yeah.
wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that being said, so tonight, but before we go any further, Michelle, Nate usually does this honor, so I'm gonna let you do it. What do you want to tell the people to do that's watching our channel? Subscribe.
Please subscribe. Hit
Yes.
that like button for
Do it.
tonight.
Do it.
Tonight. For tonight's podcast. And since you're there, you might as well go back and listen to some more. And once you listen to those, you might as well hit that button. Hit the button. It
Hit it.
don't cost nothing. Hit the button. And
Right.
then you can share because it's free 99 to
Come on.
share. Share. Come on, please. You know
Right.
this is good information. You know that these brothers are knowledgeable. You know that you know somebody who needs to be listening to the knowledge and power.
Come on.
Baby, come
Wow.
on.
We got to
Hit the
record that.
button. Hit the button.
Wow. Listen, I'm going to say this real quick and we're going to get off into our discussion. Nate, I don't know if you're listening. You probably are, as I see you dropping some stuff down there. Bruh, you may want to step away for a second so you don't hear this. We're going to have to recruit your wife, man, full time. She just laid that out. She
Right.
was like, boom.
Now, if the numbers don't go up after that.
Thanks a lot, Michelle. That was
Yes.
great. That was great. You did it in your own way, which was uniquely special. I like that. I like that.
All love to my brothers.
Yeah.
Thank you. We
And
love
my
you.
boo.
Yeah. So tonight's topic, it is October, and October has been known as Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
So we thought about it, and we said let's cover a show about breast cancer awareness, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners, us who are actually conducting the podcast, I'm sure we all know someone close to us that has either experienced this, and we just kind of want to talk about it tonight. We don't want to, like I said, inundate you with a lot of statistics and all that kind of stuff, but we would like to actually get ready to bring out one of our guests who is an 18-year breast cancer survivor. And I thought it was unique to bring this brother on the show, because the one thing that a lot of people don't think about is they think that breast cancer is only a ladies, issue. And I know for one, before I met him, I thought the same thing, and I was immature and just ignorant in that area. And to actually learn about his journey here and there, and I'm going to learn a little bit more tonight, I'm sure. I didn't know that guys could actually go through or get breast cancer.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So without further ado, I would like to bring to the Knowledge and Power podcast, Mr. Calvin Morgan. Let's welcome our guest.
Hey. Welcome, Brother Calvin.
Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing today?
Good evening. Doing wonderful.
We are doing great. We're doing great. And all of us tried to wear something to represent the color of breast cancer tonight with the pink.
Yeah.
You all have on your shirts, hats. I could not find a shirt in the metro city of Detroit. Can you believe it? I guess pink only come out at Easter for men.
Did you try Walmart?
No. I didn't, Jake. That was a good one.
JJ.
Yeah, I like that. Calvin's displaying. Why don't you tell us about that so we can just jump right into it, Calvin? What is that all about that you're showing us right there on the screen?
I met a gentleman back in early April, and he wanted to find some. He was doing a photo shoot, and his wife was going through breast cancer, and some friends of his knew my wife, and he was trying to find guys to do a photo shoot. Well, I was the only guy he was able to find. And the two ladies that were in there, one had a double mastectomy and one had a single mastectomy. So we got together and we did a photo shoot, and it was very fun. We had a lot of fun. We did a lot of crazy things, and we wanted to show people what scars look like. And everything like that without any judgment or whatever. Because a lot of people, they say, well, you've had a mastectomy. What does it feel like? What does it look like? So we just wanted to let the world know that, we're still human, that everything is okay. It's just scarring, and we try to just highlight what scars look like, from people who have had surgery to get rid of the cancer and go from there. And it was quite fun. I enjoyed it.
Now I got you soloed out. Could you show that again? I don't think people really saw that. I want to get a good. Okay, yep, good. That's all right.
Yeah,
that is all right. Yeah.
Cool.
That's heavy, man. That's heavy. So, Cal, take us back to the time when you actually got the news. The response,
Yeah.
and not just the response of being shocked from the news, but again, let's just appease my ignorance
Yeah.
of how I once thought getting the news as a man,
Right.
being told that you had breast cancer. Can you just kind of take us back there?
Yeah. Before I even found out I had breast cancer, I was going to work every day, and I would come home, and I was at working, and I would notice that my undershirt would be soaking wet. And when I would take it off, I would have little blood spots all over my chest. So I thought, maybe I was working, I scratched myself because I was, working in the factory, and I thought I scratched myself, no big deal. So that went on and kept going on. And I'm like, it's got to be something wrong. So I talked to my wife, and, as time went on, it got worse and worse. I would see more and more what I thought were spots of sweating or whatever. It was started being really red blood. It was blood just coming out of my pores. I went to the doctor, and I told him what was going on. I figured a routine check, maybe something real simple. And the doctor was like, because I was bleeding from my nipples and around my right side. I was bleeding from my right side, and they were trying to figure out why was I bleeding without being scratched or anything like that. They did some tests, went to the doctor, they did some tests. They referred me, my regular doctor referred me to some other doctors. They did some tests. And then about a week or two later, they called me back. They said, we didn't find anything, but we want to do a biopsy, to see exactly where you're bleeding from. So I went in, they did a biopsy. They removed my nipple. They went under there. They took some polyps and different stuff out of my right side. Yeah. And then it was like less than maybe 2 or 3 days later, I got a call at work, and he was like, you need to leave work right now. And I'm a real funny kind of guy. I was like, look, doc, I'm trying to make this money right now, so you're going to have to wait until I get off work. And the doc was like, no, you really don't understand I need you to leave work right now. I said, well, I'm not leaving work. I got to finish my hours. So I got off work. I went home. I talked to my wife. I said, the doctor said they want to see me. So we made an appointment to go in, and, we went into the doctor's office, and he had this funny look on him. And we went in, he was looking, he was like, well, I got some bad news. And I'm like, well, what is it? He says, well, we went through the test, we pulled out everything, and I had it tested twice. He says, well, we found out that you have breast cancer. Now, when he said that, I'm going to be honest with you, I laughed. I thought he was joking. I thought it was, okay, a prank, a joke. I said, look, man, I don't have time for this, man. I got to get back to work. And he was like, no, sir, you don't understand what I'm really saying. He said, this could be serious. He says, you got stage 2 breast cancer. And it didn't really hit me right away because my mind wasn't there. I had never heard of men getting breast cancer. I've heard of women, but I never heard of men getting breast cancer, at least.
So there was no history from anyone in your family?
Never.
I'm like, wow.
No history. None of my parents, my grandparents, nobody that I knew in my family had breast cancer. So it was just to the point that I still was going back to work, back and forth and everything. And he said, look, we got to do surgery. And I was like, look, you got to give me some time. Let me figure some things out, And it didn't really hit me until like a couple of days, a week later. I was like, okay. I got a little nervous, but my faith in God kept me calm. But the natural man was like,
what is going on?
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm not around to be with my family, my kids, and everything, and it made me nervous. So I was kind of walking on eggshells for a while
Wow.
because I, when people hear breast cancer, they immediately think of you're about to die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how when people say, okay, cancer's here, it was like COVID. When people say you had COVID, they was automatically writing you off,
Yeah.
because of my neighborhood was called the Big C. Once you get to Big C, they was like, you're out of here.
So speaking of your wife, then how did you and Jake, I see that our other guests have arrived. So after this question, I'm gonna let you bring them on.
Awesome.
How did you share the information without, pushing the panic button, the fear factor button when you told your wife?
Well, when they told me, she was sitting right there.
Oh, okay.
Everything I heard, she heard,
Okay.
because she was worried. I could see it in her face. She was worried. She was looking at me, and I grew up. You got to stand strong. I was like, it's gonna be all right, babe. Just we gonna get past this. We
Yeah.
prayed about it and everything, but I was nervous, but I didn't want her to see that I was nervous. Because I wanted her to realize that it's gonna be all right.
Okay.
Okay.
Took the strong role.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the last question I'll ask real quick is: so had you not had the bleeding that you experienced, that's what provoked you to go to the doctor? Had you
Yes.
not had that,
I probably
you
would have
wouldn't.
never went to the doctor because
Wow.
I didn't have a great record of going to the doctor. I would go to the
Which most
doctor.
which most men don't.
Yeah, I didn't go to the doctor on a regular basis. I went if I felt something, then I would go. If my
Yeah.
tooth was aching, I'd go to the dentist. If I had a headache, I'd just take some aspirin and keep moving forward. Because my main focus was I got to work, I got to take care of my family, I got to do
Yeah.
what I got to do to provide and be the man that but I wasn't thinking about going to the doctor on a regular basis or just going to get a checkup for anything, because I was always taught if your body's fine, do what you got to do. And
Yeah.
my record was very shadowy as far as going to the doctor. I probably went to the doctor before then, maybe once every 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna read this quick statement. It says, "Real men wear pink. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Go get your yearly physical." I thought that was so appropriate.
Yeah.
What you were
Yeah.
just saying right there, Cal. Okay, so
Nice comment.
with that being said, Jake, if you can bring on introduce our next guest to the Knowledge of
Our
Power.
guests, are they both there?
I see Solo.
Okay. This would be my cousin, her name is Ingrid Diamond, and she is the daughter of, her mom passed away from breast cancer a few years ago. And she's going to share her story with us and how they, dealt with the sickness and battling and all that.
Okay. All right. So welcome to the Knowledge and Power podcast.
Welcome.
Ingrid
Hi.
Diamond.
Welcome,
Hello.
Ingrid.
Welcome.
Diamond.
Hello.
Right.
Thanks for
I didn't know
having me.
which you would prefer to be called by.
Neither did I, so I listed my full name.
Okay.
My family
You
all
gave
calls me Diamond,
Right.
but
that
I
good
am
that good
named
government
after.
name.
Yes. Well, my
Yeah.
first name is Ingrid, and that was my mother's name. So,
Yes.
when you have a son, you kind of just call him Junior, or maybe by his middle name. So
Yeah.
I
Right.
always went by Diamond, but as an adult in my professional career, I go by Ingrid. So if y'all are gonna be family tonight, you can call me Diamond.
All right.
All right.
Diamond. Okay,
My
sounds
lovely
Yeah.
good.
cousin.
Awesome.
And
Thank you for
Michelle.
having me.
Michelle.
Yes.
She lives right there with you in Charlotte. Right,
Oh, well,
Diamond?
we most definitely should should hook up. Diamond,
Absolutely.
I would love to. So now I have a question for our gentleman survivor. Did you ever feel like a lump, or did they ever find, because as women, they tell us to look for lumps
Mhm.
to do our our self examinations
Right.
once a month or after our cycles so that we can check for differences in our breast mass. And I know that's how I discovered my breast cancer. So did you ever, Calvin, did you ever feel a lump or see any type of lump tissue?
I never felt a lump. Even the doctor never felt a lump, never felt anything. He said if it wasn't for the bleeding, we probably would have never caught it.
Wow.
Wow.
But men do get lumps. They do get lumps. But he just said in my case that there was no lump. It was just because of the bleeding,
Mm-hmm.
happening on a regular basis. They went in to check and that's what they found was I guess the polyps in my breast that was cancerous.
So did
Wow.
it travel to any of your lymph nodes?
It it went to my lymph node under my arm. So they went from the middle of my chest up to under my arm, and they took everything out.
Wow.
Hmm.
And when you say
Wow.
everything, what do you mean? Like,
They took 3/4 of my chest muscle, and they removed
okay.
that. Then they went from there up under my arm, which I don't use deodorant because it's good. They cut all that out. So that's my little joke. That's my joke to me.
I knew I was smelling something through the screen. I'm just joking.
But they went in
Yeah.
there and took the lymph nodes from up under my arm, and that was quite painful after the surgery. But after a while, it mellowed out, and it was okay. I couldn't move my arm for like a month, but
Can
it was okay.
imagine.
One of the questions that just popped up was, what was the source of the bleeding? Was it the polyps? Did he ever tell you what was the source of the bleeding?
They never. It was the polyps that was in my breast that were bleeding.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But it wasn't just happening there. It was happening from the right side of my chest all the way to my arm. It would be like a long stream of like from here all the way down. It would just be bleeding.
Okay.
Through the skin. That's amazing.
Like a when water finds a crack, it goes to the best spot to leak, and that's where it was leaking.
Wow, that's something. So Diamond, help us, share with us your story, your experience with cancer from your side.
Sure. So my mother was first diagnosed at 36. I was in 6th grade for her first diagnosis. We're originally from Michigan, and we're living in Atlanta. And she did actually find a lump while in the hospital having another surgery done. She was just doing a regular self-check, found a lump. Because of her age, they were very aggressive with the treatment. So she went in. She did not have a mastectomy, but they removed the lump. It was actually considered precancerous. So I guess it's stage 1. They removed it. She had her chemotherapy, radiation, and we kind of went back to life as usual. It was a rough year, but after all the treatments, everything went back to life as usual. Fast forward, I believe it was 6 years. It came back. And she was very aggressive with her mammograms going back. And I actually went to an appointment with her. I was in college and I was home. We went to one of her oncology appointments and they thought they saw something. And when she went back, they were like, oh, no, it was nothing. Well, fast forward 6 months later, it was something. So once it came back out, it was stage 4, very extreme. And at that point, the diagnosis was terminal. So she continued chemotherapy, and it did just get to a point where there wasn't, it was too much. By this time, I was a sophomore in college, and I was away. I would come home for breaks. I think I probably came home every month. She was very adamant that she wanted me to stay in school. Don't come home. You stay in school. We're going to be okay. But my brother, who's not here with us, we are hoping he would join us.
Yeah.
I think it may have just been too sensitive,
Yeah.
Yeah.
too close to home for him. But he was
Oh yeah.
home. He was in high school at the time and kind of experienced it all, from the treatment to her being sick, kind of in and out of hospitals,
Hmm.
to literally going from being at home in a bed in our home. We were giving her treatments. We learned how to do it. Nurses were coming in and out, up into hospice. So he was there for it all. And that perspective for a child, which he was a teenager, but he was a child, I think was
Right.
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 really tough. So mine was a little more indirect. But I'm an
Because you were away.
advocate.
Because you were away, correct?
I was away
Yeah.
and I did want to come home. I'll just take some time apart. But she's a very strong
Yeah.
woman.
Oh yeah.
And that gene, it did run in our family. My great grandmother's mother, we lost
Mhm.
her to breast cancer in her 30s
Wow.
as well.
Which
So
is
we,
my grandmother.
hmm
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I am I'd be remiss if I didn't say, I'm sorry for the loss that you all had to experience.
Yeah.
thank
But my
you.
question is, how has this educated you in the sense of, you know, October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month? Sometimes we use that as a cliche. Oh, it's October. But how has this educated you when it comes to the actual disease of cancer?
Sure. So, like I said, I'm an advocate. I've done my research. Um, I try to participate in different things, but I typically, you'll see me with my pen. I'm very open with my story. But for
Mhm.
my own personal health, I started having mammograms at 25 and I have them every year. I've actually had 2 biopsies myself because they know how aggressive it was in our bloodline. So
Hmm.
I'm very educated on how breast cancer works. And I think the important thing is to continue to educate others and be an advocate, because it's a disease that at this point we can fight it. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be terminal. It's a small part that we have to do. And for the other guest, his story is just so powerful because
Yeah.
there wasn't a lump. So I think
Mhm.
it was really just God that allowed it to happen the way it did. And I'm so grateful
Mhm.
that he's here. But for many
Yes.
others, if you just kind of do your breast exams or not fight the mammograms, because a lot of women don't want to get the mammograms because they help save lives. So it's made me be just a lot more aware and conscious. However, I refuse to live my life in fear. And that was
Yeah,
important for my mother,
that's
that
good
I
to hear you
lived my
say that.
life, that I wasn't afraid. My grandmother, it's interesting.
Mhm.
She actually did have breast cancer as well. Hers was a little different. And I think it was that kind of the stat that so many women will get it. I don't know if hers was the same strain as what my great grandmother, her mother, or my
Mhm.
mother's was, because hers came in her 70s. So it
Oh,
was
Yeah.
wow.
early on. They caught it. She didn't have to do any chemo. I think she went through a few rounds of radiation. Didn't do a mastectomy either. But it's
Lord.
just very interesting how it works. But because she was so sensitive to it, she still caught it at that age. But my mother shared with me years ago that there was a time in my grandmother's life, and I'm guessing probably in her 30s, where she was
Mhm.
just terrified every day, like, when is it going to happen? And she
Yeah,
made
Mhm.
it all the way to her 70s. And even once it did still present itself, she's here. She's healthy,
Yeah.
strong. And
great.
now Miss Lily is something different. Look.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Well, can I say, Diamond, I am appreciative that God is using you during this session, because something that I don't admit to um, very often, being a breast cancer survivor myself,
Mhm.
I don't go for regular mammograms like I'm supposed to.
Mhm.
Um,
That's about to change today.
You're
that's
right.
about to change today.
Yes, ma'am.
So I will just say that and see, the sad part of it is my doctors have they what I love about this show, Ray, you didn't bombard people with statistics.
Mhm.
And I can say, from a survivor's point of view, you can bombard me with the statistics all you want. It's
Yeah.
going to take me making up my mind to. Now, I will do my self examination
Mhm.
because that's how we found the first lump. But as far as going back to the doctor and just going through the process and waiting for the results and all of,
Mhm.
but I'm here for it now.
Yeah.
So
That's
so
good.
thank you
You're
for
welcome.
that turnaround, I'll call it. And
Yes, yes.
I'm amazed by Calvin's story
Yes.
because and it's so crazy because Nate didn't tell me what the subject was tonight until we had already got home. But earlier today we went out for coffee and we were just talking. And I was talking about how my surgeon told me right before my 35th birthday,
Mm.
you have
Mm.
cancer. Not only you have breast cancer, but oh yeah, and you need to have a mastectomy now.
Mm.
And I'm like, Dr. De Los Santos, I'm getting ready to have my 35th birthday, and this is not the time to, I'm in my prime. So
Mhm.
I thought. But as Black people,
Mhm.
we have the highest amount of death
Oh wow.
from a curable, well, I won't say curable, it's 99%.
Mhm.
We can survive breast cancer if we get things done early enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
That's good.
sadly, Black people die than more than any other nationality.
Mhm.
Wow.
And after I had my mastectomy and everything, I used to sit on a board with Sparrow for because they didn't have, that's something else. African American women and men don't usually talk and say, I had breast cancer. I survived breast cancer. I have the scars from the
Mhm.
breast cancer. And can we say not only physical scars?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
have never met someone who went through breast cancer and didn't have mental scars too.
Right.
Mm.
You
Mhm.
need a support system
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
wherever you are, whether it's chemo, whether it's radiation, whether you choose the mastectomy, whether you choose to get implants, however your journey takes you, you need help on that journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to the support system of survivors
Yeah.
because we do the hard work because we have to, but you guys are why we can do the hard work.
That's great, Michelle.
Yeah.
When you
That's
reach out
powerful.
for a support system, you really have to pick the people with this because the average person will write you off immediately.
Mm.
So
Really?
no, I'm just being serious. Most
Wow.
people, they're gonna look
Okay.
at you and say, "Hey, you got breast cancer. Okay, I ain't got time to deal with this." They're gonna move on. They figure you're gonna die right away. So
Wow.
Oh,
I tell people if you get it, get the people that's gonna support you and be there for you. You think most of your family is going to support you? It's probably
Mhm.
going to be somebody outside of your family that's going to really step in and walk with you all the way through that.
Wow.
And I mean, we have brothers and sisters and fathers, mothers and fathers and family members, but it's going to be that one person that's really going to stick with you and help you walk through it and be there for you, you know, um,
Mhm.
regardless of how you're feeling. They're gonna keep pushing you. It's gonna get better. You know, a lot of times, like I said, a lot of family members or friends that you are acquaintances with, you know, they find out that, you know, it's like a funeral. You know, after the first 2 weeks, you don't get no more calls no more.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Don't
Okay.
nobody check on you no more.
Calvin,
I
I'm
was
so
truly
sorry
you.
you went through that. I'm so
Right.
sorry you went
No,
through that.
I
My
didn't
story
go-
was completely different.
No, I didn't go through that. I'm only saying that because I know it could be like that. I
Wow.
didn't tell a
Okay.
lot
I
of
see.
people because it was only certain people I wanted to know that I was going through that, because first of all, I knew they had my back. I knew
Yeah.
that they were praying for me, and I knew that they was gonna love me past the love that I can get myself past.
Yeah. And that's why I'm glad we're doing a show like this, because evidently the awareness still needs to be increased.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's so many aspects to it, you know, from the moment you get the news until the aftermath and just after the surgeries. And the family, there's so many different dynamics to this, you know, being subjected to this, your family and all that. So yeah, we don't want people to be insensitive to it, no matter how long your journey is. And even after your journey, you know, you still need support.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, go ahead, guy.
No, you really do. I mean, to be honest, I had a brother, and he was like, and it to me it's funny now, but he was like, "You got your casket picked out? You got you
No.
seriously? I'm
Oh,
serious."
wow.
He was like,
Oh.
"You getting everything together? You got what about your insurance?" I'm like, "Dude, I ain't going nowhere."
Right.
You know,
That was
I mean,
was like Mortal Kombat finish him type.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Something
saying.
there.
You got to pick people that you know is going to have your back,
Mhm.
Yeah,
regardless.
because sometimes that's life.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
I will say personally, breast cancer was a difficult situation.
Mhm.
I'm sure. I know.
I am proud of the woman it produced after
Right.
I've gone through it, because life is hard, period.
Mhm.
Whether it's breast cancer, whether it's COVID, whether it's death,
Mhm.
whether it's work,
Dealing
you
with your
have
neighbor's dog
to
barking.
pick your inner circle very,
Very carefully.
Mhm.
very carefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know, I will say, after I had my mastectomy, I couldn't raise, and you were talking about you couldn't raise your arms. I could not bathe myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to choose somebody to that I felt close enough to not only get naked in front of, but get
Mhm.
naked with scars.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wow.
Can I you
Please.
tell me, Michelle, I don't want to cross the line or whatever, but you and I have talked, you know,
Mhm.
because we're family. So with that
We
statement you
are.
just made right there, was there some difficulty with you feeling comfortable in front of your husband, Nate? Uh-oh, did I open up a box right there? Cross the line.
I lost my ever loving mind. I will
Okay.
just now at age 52, looking back, I lost my mind. My husband was trying desperately to help me. My
Wow.
mama was the only one that could bathe me,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I did nothing but cry. Women,
Mhm.
when we have mastectomies,
Mhm.
we lose our breast. As much as people say breasts are not important, breasts are important. I mean, I got massive compliments after I got my new breast.
Mhm.
People were like, "Is that you?" I'm like, "No, these is new, boo."
Mhm.
But it's fine. It's because it's a journey. It's a story. I mean, yes, right now when I look in the mirror, I still have scars. I'm reminded that my breasts were taken. But
Gotcha.
then I'm also reminded that I'm victorious
Yeah.
and that I went through that. And now I know who is Team Shell.
All
I
right.
know who I can trust. I know that Ray and Jake were praying for me. I know that they were holding my husband up when I couldn't.
Right.
So you have to choose your village. And when you choose your village, let them help you.
Right.
You
I agree.
cannot do it alone.
Right. That's good.
It's too much trauma to try to do alone.
Yeah.
And when you try to do it alone, you're allowing the enemy to win.
And
Okay.
especially now that, there is an awareness, like Diamond mentioned my grandmother, which my paternal grandmother, she passed before we were born, but her breast cancer was in the 60s when the treatment was like basically non-existent.
Yeah.
And she had a mastectomy, but she had to dress her chest like every day.
Wow. That's
And
something.
yeah, so with the advancement in medical technology and stuff, thank God that it doesn't have to be the way it was for
Yeah.
people
Wow.
And think
now.
about this with diamonds being plotted everywhere because Diamond is educating herself. So she is passing it on to the next person, and she's passing it on to the next person, and the
Yeah,
next person, and the next person. Maybe they'll stop making mastectomy patients go home the same day,
the same day.
tubes
Wow.
and all.
Oh, that's just,
You're draining your tube,
Yeah.
and you just had a mastectomy.
oh, that's callous. That's just,
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so really, they're
I
like, yeah, they like wake up, go home.
Okay.
wow.
So let me ask this question. And this is to Diamond, Calvin,
Hmm.
Michelle. Um, so that being said, we know that doctors, medicine is just practice. It's just you're just practicing medicine. I mean, you're
Hmm.
not perfect. But my question is, I've heard in each one of your discussions tonight,
Hmm.
all of you said that the decisions had to be made quick, fast, and in a hurry, and you need to come to the hospital. You need to come back to the doctor right now, and you need to get your mastectomy now. With
Yeah.
doctors not being perfect, how is it that when you're faced with that, how do you trust what treatment to go? Is my question. How do you trust which decision to make?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
Diamond, for your mom, you know, a person could say this is what you should do. That's a doctor,
Hmm.
but at the same token, in that moment, how do you know? How do you come
Right.
to a conciseness of what decision to make for your life, for your future?
Well, I know when I was first diagnosed, I had a cousin that was a nurse. So I called her up and I told her what was going on. And she immediately says, I need you to get a second opinion. I says, okay. So she says, can you get me some tissue? I says, yes, they still have some tissue. So I asked the doctor for some tissue. They gave me some. I gave it to her. She ran it through her where she was working at. And she called me back and she says, I want to confirm what the doctor said,
Mm.
that you do have cancer. And then I went from there
Hmm.
to go ahead with the surgery because I was, like I said, I didn't go to the doctor a lot because some doctors, I
Hmm.
think they were just, they give you aspirin and charge you all this money and it really didn't need it. So
That's the
being honest,
male thing.
that was the male thing to do. You only trying to get paid. And, I kind of told the doctor, I'm not trying to send your kids to college on my behalf, you know. So once I got that second opinion, then I aggressively moved forward with what they wanted to do, and to go from there. And yeah, I do remember when going home, they sent me home. I had a tube in there, and I'm bleeding constantly, and I had to change that little drip tube every couple of hours because I was constantly bleeding, still bleeding out of my chest and everything. But yeah, that's basically what I did. You know, I got a second opinion first before I moved on to anything.
Okay. Diamond, can you speak to that?
Yeah. So my mother's story was a little different because the first time around, it was so early that a mastectomy wasn't even a concern for her or her doctors. It was like, it's, we can treat this. However, I remember her final round of chemo. It was during the holidays, and I remember her saying, "I'm not doing it. This was just too much." Again, she's in her mid-30s at this point. She's a mother. I didn't mention my grandmother did relocate from Michigan to Atlanta because it was so tough that we would have had to move back, or someone had to take care of her. She wasn't married at the time. But that last round, she just was like, the experience that I've had, I just can't do it again. And if this is all still just a precaution because we want to make sure it's gone, and you're still going to go through this extreme, aggressive, I guess, rounds of radiation, I'm just not doing it. And that was a decision she made. My mother is a very strong believer, and just her faith was first. I'm sure there were first and second opinions done. And then the second time around, it was so far progressed that a mastectomy wasn't even, it's like, we don't want to go in and try to mess with this. We just want to let the rest of your life be as peaceful as possible. I think their initial diagnosis was 3 months. She lived for maybe a year and a half, which was great. But it just, I think when you're a person of faith, sometimes you have to consult with God, and she wanted to follow the doctor's orders. And I think it did just get to a point of, this is so tough that I'll just do what they say, like, just follow the doctor's orders. For me personally, I mentioned that I've had I do my mammograms and my self-checks. However, I have a daughter, and after I had my daughter, I remember talking to my doctors just saying I wanted to have a mastectomy for preventative purposes, and they all support it. However, I don't want to do it until I'm done having children, and I still want to have more kids. And I know maybe 2 or 3 years ago, the doctor was saying, hey, if this is still something you want to do, I get it. You want to have kids, but you want to be here for your kids. So this is a personal decision I've made, which is to hang on to them until I'm ready. But I'm open to doing it. I really am, because, it's tough. I figure that could rule it out altogether. However, you mentioned lymph nodes, like it comes in different places, and it's interesting that breast cancer can pop up and not necessarily be in the breast. So you get a mastectomy and then still get it. It's a complex disease, and I think your faith is so important. It really is
vital.
It is. Michelle, can you?
Well, when we found out, I found my own lump, and my nipple was bleeding. So my sister is a surgical nurse, and she knew all these doctors already. So when we went with the doctor, we just went with what he said. He only gave us 2 weeks to he scheduled the surgery. So Nate and I just got together, we prayed, and we trusted. We believed that God was allowing he was allowing me to be healed through surgery.
Okay.
So we just went with it.
Okay.
I wish my wife was here to speak to what Diamond just said, because her best friend just passed either last year or the year before to breast cancer, and she did have the double mastectomy, even though she didn't necessarily need it. and it came back even with that. So
It's a nasty disease.
it is. It
Yes,
really
it
is.
is. That's why I'm glad that we had a chance to approach it tonight. We are approaching that time to wrap up, but I think just hearing both ends
You're
of
right.
hearing how strong Diamond, unfortunately, it took her mother's life, but to hear how strong she is
Mhm.
after that experience, and that she's just educating herself and doesn't mind spreading abroad the education to other people as well.
Amazing young
And
woman.
then to hear, Calvin's story of being an 18-year survivor,
Wow.
and being a male. That
Representing.
Yeah, that's the part there that I think is important.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I hope, if nothing else, that this really enlightened some people and gave them the opportunity to, if it's something personal that's knocking at your door, that you're able to approach it differently.
Mhm.
And we did hear the horrific uh, stories that sometimes people get ghost and
Yeah.
they will abandon you because they just don't feel like they want to put the work in, because it is work.
Mhm.
But my thing is, when you love something or someone, it's not work. You do what's necessary
Yeah.
to keep them going. So that being said, before we get our wisdom nugget, you got it right, Michelle.
I got it.
Okay, you got it. So I'm gonna ask our guests before they leave if they can just sum up, and I give them a minute or less to just sum up what they want the takeaway to be for our listeners tonight, and then we're gonna flash to Michelle with our wisdom nugget. So we'll start with Diamond.
Thank you. Um, I would say my ultimate takeaway one is to, I guess it's a witness. Know who you are in Christ and make sure you're together, because my mother was determined that this disease wouldn't take her.
Yeah.
However, anyone who came to see her, whether it was at home or it was in the hospital, how's your relationship with Jesus? She didn't play about it.
She did.
So I would say seriously to have yourself right with Christ and just trust Him, whatever it is. If it's meant for you to be a survivor, which is obviously what we want, then stand strong in that and continue to advocate. And then if it's not, to still just trust the plan and hope that you have passed the torch on in a way that you can go out and speak well. And I would encourage men and women to do your exams. And if you're someone who needs a mammogram, to get them, and to just know that exactly what Michelle said is true. This is a curable disease for us. So don't be
Yes.
gripped by it. Don't let fear take over, and just trust that it's a good fight to be fought, and there's a way to win. You can come out on
Wow,
the other side as a survivor.
wow,
Yeah.
Amen.
that was good.
Preach.
That was good. Calvin,
Yes.
what do you want our audience takeaway to be for tonight?
For real quick, I'm gonna say I just want to shout out to my son. He just texted me. He said he was listening. He's in the Navy. He just wanted me to shout out, hey Christian.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, I just put his comment up there. He was like, that's my dad.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah, he's in San Diego now. He's in the Navy. I would just want the men to know that it is imperative that you go to your doctor. I go once or twice a year,
Mm.
uh, and I make the doctor do a full physical. I let him
Amen.
know, hey, I had
Amen.
breast cancer. I need you to check to make sure I'm still good, regardless of the bills that may come or whatever.
Mhm.
Go see the doctor. You can
Amen.
pay the bills later, but you only get one life to live. You want to be around here as long as you can. It's imperative that you go to the doctor. Ask for those different situations that you need to get tested for cancer or whatever. If you feel something, go to the doctor.
Mhm.
It's better to be safe than sorry, because you don't want to end up with stage 4 or whatever cancer, and then it's not too much they can do. Every man should at least go once or twice a year. I say every 6 months, go to the doctor, get checked out, talk it over with your mate or somebody that that you're in contact with, say, hey, I think something is wrong. I need to go to the doctor. And even if it's not cancer, just go because you want to make sure that you're healthy.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that people do that will destroy their body. So it's imperative. I tell every man, please, not just because I'm saying it, but you want to live longer than expected. Go see the doctor, have your faith in God. And that's one of the biggest things that kept me through is believing that God had my back regardless. It tells you that he won't put no more on you than you can bear. Yeah. You know, he knows exactly what you can bear and what you can't bear. And if you keep trusting in him and go to the doctor, you'll be all right.
Cool. Wow. Ray, I'd like to point out something that he said.
Go for it, bro.
He said he went to the doctor and made the doctor do a full physical.
Wow.
They don't like to do that. They don't like to give you the full thing now. They give you the little cough and you out the door.
If you're
from the rooter to the tutor,
you're gonna be a passive patient. They gonna take advantage of a passive patient.
Yeah,
that's good. That's
every time.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Calvin, I did put up your information. If anybody wants to contact you while you were talking, I did have it up there. So people can reach out to you. So we're going to allow Miss Michelle Hall give you your solo to give us our wisdom nugget as we end every show with a wisdom nugget to live by for the week.
Our wisdom nugget today comes to you from church. They say that breast cancer is a horrible disease and that it entails a lot of fear and issues for a person, male or female, to get over. Well, I want to say to you that doctor subscribed cannabis might help you get through them fears.
Oh Lord. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's Nate's wife right there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you to our wonderful guests.
Yeah, it's been a great discussion, and
yes,
I hope everybody just has a great, blessed week and enjoy yourselves. Have fun, love on your family, and we will see you guys next week with a new show.
Thank you.
Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button.
All right. See y'all later.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.